How's everyone doing? My name is... Oh, wow. Finally fixed the audio. Wonderful. Well, this is it, guys. The ending to a bit of a trilogy for Sonic's 25th anniversary. It started with the SA3 video, then the 2017 analysis, and now a top 10. Of course, there was the playthrough of Sonic 1 that led up to this, but that wasn't a special, just a ceremonial Let's Play. But now let's get to the video. So, I love Sonic. It's obvious with all the coverage on him on my channel. Sonic games, to the misfortune of fans, aren't really hit or miss. They actually can range from... Yeah, it's a real mess. In fact, Sonic has flopped many times in his 25-year run, but even with those flops, he's not showing any signs of slowing down. Why? Well, he's had many great games come out, which shows how much potential the series has. In this video, I will point out the best 10. So without further ado, get a load of this! Top 10 Sonic games.
We only got one life. Baby, are we cool enough?
Coming at you!
They say that there's no I in team. Well, it's true, just spell it out. There's also no I in Sonic Heroes. Well, except in Sonic, but you know what I mean. Sonic Heroes, everybody. This game in my eyes is very underrated. A lot of people don't like it, which sucks. I mean, I know it has its issues, but that doesn't make it a bad game. In this game, you take control of 3 characters at the same time. A speed character, a flight character, and a power character. Well, that sounds like an absolute mess. It's actually pretty simple 3D Sonic gameplay. The platforming is still there, the speed is still there, but this time getting through takes teamwork. It also takes a lot of patience, because unfortunately, control is pretty sloppy. This means you'll be getting to know bottomless pits. A lot. The game also has a more nice, cartoonish, lighthearted style to it. The story is not very dark, and it's nothing crazy like its predecessors, though playing the same levels over and over will be tiring. And I mean it when I say that. The graphics, at least, are easy on the eyes, and they emphasize the lightheartedness of the game. So yeah, this game's pretty good, at least in my eyes, and it deserves a spot at number 10. What the fuck, Blue? Sonic Unleashes on this list? But the Werehog! Shush. I like the Werehog. I know. It's not that great, and it's understandable why people don't like it, but I like to keep an open mind, and I personally found it enjoyable. To an extent. A diversity in gameplay is something I like in a Sonic game. Doing the same thing over and over can make the game a bit boring. This is actually a topic we will come across many times on this list. The Werehog is focused on melee and platforming, which is solid, but definitely on the repetitive side. On the other hand are the Hedgehog stages, which involves blazing through levels at the speed of fucking sound. Just so epic. Am I right? The main focus of the game as well is the day and night cycle. Hedgehog has the day stages, while the Werehog has the night. Both are very aesthetically pleasing, and the game overall just looks absolutely great, especially since the game before that looked like this.
Hold on tight!
Okay.
The story is nothing really special, but I won't really go into detail. So yeah, Sonic Unleashed is a pretty good game in my eyes, and even the Werehog has his day. Alright, Unleashed claims number 9, guys. So we're going back to the one that started it all, the one that introduced us to the blue blur himself, Sonic the Hedgehog. Well, I wasn't born yet, but the Sonic Mega Collection on Xbox gave me the chance to enjoy this. And I, finding my gaming start in the early 2000s, love to enjoy some classics. 2D side-scrollers from the old days are what solidified me as a true gamer. After seeing all types of games, I started to appreciate them as an art. But back to the 2D side-scroller. You had a lot of simple platformers which followed the style of Super Mario Bros. It was a great style after all, but nothing really stood out. And then comes Sonic, who sped his way into the hearts of millions. Yes, I'm serious. This put the Genesis on the map. And how? Well, it's just like any other platformer you would love. The difference is speed and momentum-based platforming. It made gaming feel more alive. The worlds were aesthetically pleasing. Even a barren underground hellhole like the Labyrinth Zone looks pretty nice. And I know that there is no such person out there who doesn't recognize Green Hill Zone, or at least its background music. I'm very sure of that. The bosses are nothing to get really worked up about. They should be easy enough to handle, especially the Green Hill Zone boss. I mean, come on, that's like the easiest it gets. And the levels themselves aren't something to kill yourself over. Except maybe the ill-mentioned Labyrinth Zone, and that Death Trap Scrap Brain Zone. Ugh, God. The special stages are like the biggest ass trip you've ever been on in your life. Oh boy, I need to stop dropping LSD. But the Chaos Emerald is a nice reward at the end at least. Overall though, Sonic 1 is an amazing game, and just as it had Sonic speed his way into our hearts, it sped its way to number 8. I really didn't want to put this solo on the list, but the other games I had were just better to me. That doesn't take away from how much of a great game Sonic Colors is. In fact, Sonic Colors is a high-rated game in my opinion. Everything that was praised in Sonic Unleashed is present here, and by that I mean the day stages. Though the boost is toned down here in favor for more natural speed and also the new whisk gimmick. Basically, these are aliens that serve as power-ups to get you through the level. There's
You! Burst! Drill! Frenzy! Hover! Laser! Rocket! Spikes! Void!
I have to say I enjoy this gimmick very much though. The levels are actually a lot bigger in scale and really shows the developers thinking outside of the box. And with a gimmick like this, it makes it so much better. Plus, I have said how the last two games had very aesthetically pleasing levels, and I'm going to say the same here. These levels are beautiful, especially Aquarium Park. Not bad for Wii graphics at all. It also reintroduced Super Sonic to normal gameplay, which is fucking awesome! I mean, seriously, it's about damn time. Oh man, I really enjoyed this game until I fucking lost it. I wish I could have put this higher, but the other games I had were very special. So, Sonic Colors makes its mark at number 7. So, will this choice create a good future or a bad one? Looks okay. This is another game I'd hate to put solo on this list, but as I mentioned with Colors, I like the other games more. And again, that doesn't take away from what an amazing game Sonic CD is. When looking at it, you have the same charm that Sonic 1 gave, but there's much more. First off, there's Sonic's new ability, the Super Peel Out, where Sonic almost instantly becomes a demon of speed with an 8 for legs. Of course, he's vulnerable with it, otherwise it'd pretty much be exactly the same as a spin dash. Wait, what's a spin dash? Oh, we'll get to that. You might also notice that the zones are a lot larger this time around. Well, yes. In fact they are, and the reason that is the case is now Sonic has more to do than just run to the goal this time. You have to travel through time and destroy machines to make a better future. Or, you can just collect the time stones to do that for you. Though it reeks of tediousness, I do love this because it really encourages replayability and exploration rather than just finishing a level. This game also introduces one of the most beloved Sonic characters of all time, Amy Rose. I'm just kidding, it's Metal Sonic. But yeah, Sonic CD is a great game that unfortunately was for a shitty add-on that got nowhere. The remade version from Christian Whitehead was just icing on the cake for an amazing title. Sonic CD nails a spot at number 6. Oh God. And now we jump to Sonic's first true 3D adventure, Sonic Adventure. Fun fact, this is actually the first Sonic game I've ever played. Yeah, true story, all the way back in 2004. And it even remains one of my favorite games of all time. It's a bit disappointing to see some of the opinions on this game. I get that the game aged horribly. I mean, the cutscenes and the animations overall are just god-awful. And by looking at today's standards and some of the games released before or even at that time, it looks worse. I don't disagree with that aspect at all. But I do disagree when people say you need nostalgia to enjoy this game, because you really don't. The story and gameplay were solid and are the reason why said nostalgia exists in the first place. Come see for yourself. So the gameplay was made with the popular 3D platformer in mind, but as with Sonic 1, it incorporated its own element with speed. The big thing here are the multiple storylines. You have along with Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, Amy, Big the Cat, and E102 Gamma. Each had their own style of gameplay and each were simple and enjoyable, except for Big the Cat's fucking fishing levels. Why? Why, Sega? Why? Aside from those characters, we have one of the best villains in a Sonic game ever, Chaos. I love this guy, and the child too. It was really fun and innovative to be able to take care of a child like a pet, and racing them was really cool too. Overall, this game had a whole lot to offer in the entertainment department and deserves much more praise than it gets. Don't get me wrong though, it has its praise. A Sonic Adventure 3 is probably the most wanted thing in the Sonic community now. I would know, I made a video about it. You should check that out by the way. Anyway, I love Sonic Adventure, and because of the cool game it is, it breezes its way to number 5. So what would happen if you were to meet yourself from the past? Would you hang out, give them advice, fight to the death, although if you kill them then you would cease to exist, so I don't recommend that, but anyway, yeah. What would you do? Don't know? Well, if you'd ask Sonic, he'd say, yeah, that's way past cool. We'd race to see who's the fastest. Hey, 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 Tails, long time no see. You're too slow. I found you. Faker, you're too slow, you're too slow, you're too slow. Sounds a little far-fetched, right? Well, that's the whole idea of Sonic Generations. Classic and modern. As you can tell, you play two different styles. The still fun Genesis 2D platformer and the 3D, sometimes 2D Super Speed Marathon from Unleashed. That's right, I say Unleashed because it's a lot more like Unleashed than Colors. Instead of having new original stages, the game reintroduces some old favorites with fresh new HD redesigns. These stages are so well designed for both classic and modern Sonic. The classic stages were brought back beautifully. Sonic proves that he can still work well on a 2D plane, and the new 3D elements added to it makes it so much better. The modern stages are as incredibly fun as they've always been, though a little too much 2D for my taste. Not only did some great levels make their return, but so did great bosses and even rivals too. They did Silver's fight right this time, holy crap! But yes, what a way to celebrate the 20th anniversary of one of gaming's most iconic characters. Here's to many great anniversary titles. For now, Sonic Generations has number 4. So now we're heading back to those wonderful Genesis days, and what a jump, right? I mean, the first game at number 8 and its sequel at number 3, Sonic 2 has to have been everything good about Sonic 1 with improvement. I don't really need to explain the gameplay since I kind of already have with Sonic 1 and CD, but I must mention the first appearance of the Heavenly Spin Dash. This was Sonic's defining ability. It allowed him to gain speed whenever he needed it up front. It even remained in future games before being scrapped in most modern titles. The fuck, Sega? You're always making bad choices. But enough about that. Sonic 2 also introduces probably the biggest Sonic character besides Sonic himself, Miles Tails Prower, the loyal sidekick. He became a mainstay in pretty much every Sonic game after that, eventually becoming a hero on his own terms. The new levels are, well, you guessed it, aesthetically pleasing, making the main game a joy to play. And then there are the hidden special stages, which suck honestly, but the reward is worth it, a nice shiny Chaos Emerald. There are 7 to collect, and when you do, just gather 50 rings and jump and you will become
Motherfucking Super Sonic!
So yeah, Sonic 2 is an incredible game. Considered by most to be the best Sonic game ever made, but it is number 3 for me, so obviously the last 2 have to have been way better, and trust me, they are. And then there were 2. Sonic Adventure 2 was definitely one of my clear favorites, as I will mention a certain video again. Watch it! Sonic Adventure was one of the best games I've ever played, and Adventure 2 was even better. The game introduced a darker story, which was definitely its most defining feature. It was also the introduction of Shadow the Hedgehog and Rouge the Bat, 2 of the most beloved Sonic characters, and made them fun to play with. In fact, the game had multiple gameplays like Adventure 1, but simplified to just 3, removing the useless fishing levels and the unnecessary story arcs. Now the gameplay is shared between characters. Speed stages are for Sonic and Shadow, Knuckles' Emerald hunting stages are for him and Rouge, and E102 Gamma's shooting levels are now for Tails and Eggman. The speed stages are just as great as they were in the first. Shooting levels can have their tedious moments, but they're generally okay. And the emerald hunting is definitely dumbed down from the first, but still very much fun. And not to mention unique levels for each character. This game is great, but there's more. There's multiplayer, kart racing, a new boss rush, and the Child Garden makes its glorious return with a new child karate game. So yeah, it came with a whole lot to offer, and that's why it's so praised. But more content doesn't mean it's the best. In fact, it, along with all previous selections, don't really give us much passion as the top pick of my list. I love Sonic Adventure 2, but its spot is at number 2. So I want to take a little time to shed a light on the ones that couldn't make this list. That shit. Here's the real number 1. Yeah, this game. This is one of the most perfect games ever made, and I mean perfect. I cannot for the life of me find anything wrong with this game. This is the greatness of Sonic 1, Sonic 2, and Sonic CD pushed even further. First off is the noticeable save feature, which makes life a whole lot easier. I mean, seriously, bravo. The gameplay is improved with each character having their own abilities. Sonic is his usual self with a spin dash. He now boasts an insta-shield when he double jumps. Yay! Tails can use his tails to fly now, and he can even swim underwater. Super Sonic also returns when you catch all Chaos Emeralds in the most entertaining special stages ever created. Aside from that, the level design is much more creative and innovative, making for a memorable experience. It doesn't stop there. Each stage has its own boss, so battling with Eggman feels even better than before. The biggest thing that seals the spot for Sonic 3 is the introduction of my favorite character, Knuckles the Echidna, or Nipples the Enchilada, however you want to call him. He's pretty annoying when he's against you, but as seen in later games, he's really freaking awesome. I just wish he could have been playable here, but it's understandable. He was a bad guy. Anyway, that's all for Sonic 3, and I'm glad to call it the best Sonic game ever made. So guys, that is the end of my top 10 Sonic games. I'm really glad that I've made this. I had a lot of fun. Anyway guys, thank you guys for watching. I will see you next video. Okay, we all know that was only half of the game. The true number one is not just Sonic 3, but Sonic 3 and Knuckles. That's right, with the power of Lock-On Technology, we were able to get the true full game. Or simply two smaller games, however you wanted to play it. Everything that was said about Sonic 3 stands, but now we were able to play as Knuckles, and he was exactly as awesome from the beginning. We got more zones to explore, more bosses to beat, and even better, more emeralds to catch. Yeah, no kidding. And with those new emeralds, we were able to play as Hyper Sonic, Super Tails, and Hyper Knuckles, or as we know them,
Ultimate Gods of Destruction!
So I think that pretty much settles it. Sonic 3 and Knuckles is the best Sonic game ever made, and one of the greatest games of all time. So guys, this is the real conclusion to my top 10 Sonic games. I hope that our opinions don't differ too much, but if they do, go ahead and leave a comment below. I'd love to see your opinions. And about the new Sonic games, it sucks that they're coming next year, but you know what? I'm perfectly fine with it. As the great Shigeru Miyamoto would say, a delayed game is eventually good, a rushed game is forever bad. And that's definitely something Sonic fans are familiar with. With that being said, thanks for watching, and really, thank you to anyone who has supported me. You know, this summer has been pretty hard dealing with things, but I really love making YouTube videos. So really, thank you all. Have a great night, and I will see you next video. Also, please leave a like, share this video, and subscribe. It'd be much appreciated. Happy anniversary, Sonic.
Hey, I'll play with you some other time.